Hello and welcome back to the Pool Builders vlog. I'm Randy Reardon, owner of Integrity Pool Builders, and I'm joined here today with Mason Davis, our general manager. Mason?
Randy, nice to be back here again for our second episode. Last week we talked a lot about our plaster season and a lot of the parameters around that. This week we're wanting to talk more about winterizing. We're right at the beginning of September, end of August when we're recording this, so a little premature, but those winterizing is going to be right around the corner. So we really wanted to take some time to address some key points for winterizing and what that entails for us, and educate clients and prospective people interested in that on what the winterizing process is.
This summer has just flown by, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gone by quickly. It happens every year. It gets to August, and then Samantha starts sending me winter cover quotes to start to draw up and drawings, and before we know it, we're through winterizing season, and it just cycles back. So I did want to ask you though, is the probably someone who's winterized more pools maybe in the nation than most people, definitely in this market, winterized tens of thousands of pools, whether hands-on or supervising or overseeing them to some degree, tens of thousands of pools. Could you educate us a little bit on the process of what you found is best practice for winterizing a pool and some of that basic procedure?
So first and foremost, what we're going to talk about today is winterizing residential pools.
Okay.
Integrity Pool Builders is primarily a design build firm, and we only maintain and service pools that we build. So what we're going to discuss is really only applicable to in-ground, shotcrete swimming pools, really for this market. I realize that there's less expensive than other ways to do things. We're really not going to get into that. All we're going to talk about today is how Integrity Pool Builders does it and why. That being said, Mason, over the course of my 30-year career, I've winterized literally tens of thousands of swimming pools. This year, Integrity Pool Builders will winterize between 500 and 600 pools. Because of that, and we have been here for 30 years, do the math, well over 10,000. That being said, we have found a great process in which we can pretty much mitigate all the risk of freeze damage to pools. In doing so, our process is to install the mesh winter cover. Here's some different fabric samples of mesh winter covers. And in order for a mesh winter cover to be installed and utilized properly, we drain down about 18 to 24 inches of the pool. We bring out a big trailer compressor. It's a turbo diesel powered compressor, and it blows 185 cubic feet of air a minute at 90 psi. So we drain down the pool, blow out all of the lines, actually blow them out to the extent at which they're pretty much dry. The air coming out of the compressor is really warm. Winterize the equipment, pull all the plugs. We put a winter algicide in the water, brush it around. We shock the water, brush it around. We don't want to leave any chemicals on the floor of the pool for any amount of time. And then when we're done blowing out the pool, we also install rubber plugs in the skimmers, the returns, anything where water could potentially flow back or leak back, we put these in. Now, the biggest reason we drain the water is we don't want to winterize with the auto cover and maintain the water level up. All right. There are some pool builders out there, and in fact, our auto cover manufacturer says you can winterize with their auto cover, right? Yeah. But in order to do that, you have to maintain the water level up, because what makes an auto cover so strong is the surface tension from the water blowing. So you drain at 18 to 24 inches, you see, correct, the auto cover will rip. And that's where the...
And you're not going to have your safety rating under those parameters as well, only if the water level's up high.
Guys, that's the other thing. We build a lot of pools in very high-end areas in, around the Denver metro area. And a lot of people don't put fences in during construction. They don't want them, right?
And a lot of HOAs don't allow you to in some instances here in Colorado.
Correct. And that's why we do a lot of auto covers, right? And so we have to keep the ASTM rating. That auto cover's ASTM rating doesn't include ice freezing on it. Doesn't include, if you drain down the pool any further than 3 inches below normal operating level.
Snow totals accumulating on top of it.
So for safety reasons, so that someone doesn't get hurt while the pool's winterized, and as well as protecting your investment, the tile, the skimmer, the underground plumbing. Most of the pools we do have sun benches, right? And you don't want freeze thaw on those. It'll peel the plaster up, it'll peel up the tile. We need to drain that water 18 to 24 inches and winterize this way. This is what we have found works very, very well. We can stand behind it, we can guarantee it, and when we do, I've never had an issue. Now, in the past, before we made this our policy, or even, I've gone back and fixed pools that have been damaged from being improperly winterized. I've had to rip up decks, fix plumbing,
Chip into shells,
remove skimmers, all of these things, because somebody wanted to save a couple grand on a mesh winter cover cost.
Yeah.
It's just
probably
not
more
worth it.
expensive to do all those repairs on a winter cover mesh. I would have
Way more expensive. I mean, you're talking 10 to 1. These mesh winter covers, I believe they come with like a 10-year prorated warranty.
Yeah. So,
if they rip or anything, CoverStar, our auto cover manufacturer, actually makes these for us, Latham, and they warranty them for like 10 years. It is a prorated warranty, so I think on your 9th or 10th year or something, you're going to get like 10% back or something. But I think it's free replacement the first 4 or 5 years total. So it's a really good cover to get, and it helps mitigate the risk of freeze damage. When you spend $250,000 on your backyard pool, do you really want to trip over $5 grand and then it end up costing you $20,000-$30,000 come springtime and rip up deck and fix stuff? No, nobody wants that.
that's a big hassle.
So that's why we do that. And again, I realize there's other ways to do this. I realize that in other markets people use tarps and sandbags and this kind of stuff. We can't stand behind that. It doesn't meet safety rating. It's something that we can't provide in good faith to our
Yeah,
clients.
at the end of the day, we're trying to provide the best product to our clients at each stage, and this
Correct.
represents at the end.
And that's why we've adopted this. We want people to be able to enjoy their pool for a real long time and not have these issues. Now, that being said, Mason, what are some things, being our general manager, you get all the calls. What are some things that you've heard clients ask that you kind of want to discuss in this so that we can help answer questions, maybe save people some time, as well as save you guys some time so you don't have to answer so many questions over the phone.
Right, exactly. Right, so a lot of the questions I get asked most commonly are when do I winterize my pool, timelines, and then on the back end, when can I open our pool. So rough guidelines for our winterizing queues is we start winterizing pools in October.
Okay.
And we try to have everything winterized, and all our clients that are going to winterize before Thanksgiving. So we have that like October, November-ish time frame of when we're winterizing pools. And those pools will stay shut down until the first week of April when we start winterizing opening pools, and then we'll start opening them all the way through first, second week of May. So your pool will be shut down during that time, and that's kind of the time frame we ask tell clients to communicate to them of when. Other than that, the clients can dictate when they want to winterize within that window. So they'll reach out to Samantha, they'll set up a time frame of when they're wanting to do it. If they've got family coming over for some point in October, we can sometimes push that window back if they're just wanting to get it done so they don't have to pay any sort of heating bills. In the month of October or November, we can winterize early on, but we don't start winterizing before October for a couple reasons. One, we don't want algae growth to be very prevalent in the pool when we come to open it in the springtime. So that's also why we open up so early in the spring. We don't open pools in June, July, and we don't winterize them in August, September, because the algae growth from those warm air temperatures and the sunlight hitting on it will cause algae growth to increase exponentially, even with the chemicals we put in there to combat it. So we want to hold off to do that. And we also
The air temps are just too warm.
Yeah, they're too warm, so it's going to be perfect conditions for algae to grow. If the water just sitting there stagnant. So we want to mitigate that as much as possible. And once we get into October here in our climate, that's when we start to see some temperatures, in the 60s, 70s, not 80s, 90s, 100, where algae growth is really going to thrive. So when we put in those chemicals, algae prevention, long duration shock, that can help mitigate even in October some of those algae prevention, prevent the algae from growing during that time, and then move forward with when we open the pool in April, we don't have a whole lot of algae in there because we went to those parameters. So that, one question I get a lot was that with the with the time window of when we winterize. The other question I get a lot of is about these anchors. Question I get a lot is, hey, you're putting this big old tarp on my deck, you're installing these drop-in anchors, are we going to be stubbing our toes on these year-round? The answer to that question is no. That bolt threads down into the housing for the anchor and sits flush. So when we open your pool in the springtime, that sits down flush with the deck, not going to stub your toes. And then in the summer or in the winter, when we go to winterize, we thread those bolts up. The cover attaches onto those and it secures it pretty decently to the deck. So.
When you drill into concrete or anything tile,
Yep.
sometimes we see some chipping. Right?
Yeah. So we take every chance we can to buy new blades, prevent everything we can to get a clean hole drilled. But inevitably, if the concrete on the surface is a little bit weaker, we might see some chipping. Tile is very fragile. We might see some cracking, some flaking around that hole itself. So that's something we try to educate clients on, and we also give them the option to, if you have a very expensive tile decking, we also have the option to do a reduced deck mount cover, which is where we modify the cover to where it can be anchored into the coping, which is the concrete right on top of our bond beam, which in most cases is a exposed sand finish concrete. So we're not drilling into your tile. It does cost a little bit more to do that, but then we're not drilling into, if you have a porcelain paver that you have that's not embedded into decking, it's just on, road base or something like that, or a real thin paver. We do have that option to go in there, but regardless of what material we're drilling into, we run into that risk. But our guys have a handful of bits on their truck. As soon as they start to wear out, they keep them fresh and new. So we're taking every chance we can to mitigate the damage that happens to those holes.
We also have some trimmering or grommets that we can add if the fresher your concrete is, the more it's going to chip.
Yeah.
So if the pool is pretty recently completed, like within the last month or two, there's a pretty good chance that concrete's going to chip more than concrete that was poured 6, 8, 9 months before, right? So we do have at an extra cost some grommets that help hide that, but the problem is it takes this little 3/4 inch brass and makes it about 1 1/4 inch round. So
yeah. From what we've seen, it maybe makes it more of an eyesore than just seeing a couple little flakes off. And it can be a case by case basis and depends on the homeowner, but there is an option to hide that. If it's
some people, the chips annoy them and they hate it.
Yep.
Some people don't mind a little larger brass trimmering.
Yep.
And so that's a great solution for them when that happens, because inevitably it's going to chip. Those things happen, right?
Exactly.
And there's not a whole lot we can do about it.
And then one more question I get a lot is, can I keep my spa open and my pool closed? The answer to that depends on where the spa is located, right?
Okay.
If the spa is inside your pool, so if you have the footprint of your pool and the spa is internal, we call that an internal spa, it's inside the footprint of the pool. In that scenario, it's all or nothing. As we discussed at the beginning, we have auto covers that go across all of our pools. If we winterize the pool, we have to drain down that water level to be down below the returns. We're not going to be able to operate that cover. It's going to have no surface tension underneath it. The pool water is going to freeze. That cover is going to become unoperable for the vast majority of the winter. So if your spa is internal of the footprint of the pool, it either has to, both bodies of water have to stay open, or both bodies of water need to winterize. So that's something to consider more on the design phase. So speak with your designer about what your intentions are for keeping your pool open in the winter or not. But if the spa is on the outside of the pool, we have the ability to keep both bodies of water open, whether or not you have 2 sets of equipment or 1. The vast majority of pools that we do only have 1 equipment set. Makes it super simple. Even though it's just a 1 equipment set, 2 bodies of water, all we have to do is rotate actuators and shut them off for the winter. We can winterize everything on the pool side, spa side can stay operational. But again, it has to be separate of that. So the answer is yes, you can, but it depends on where the spa is located in relation to the pool.
Awesome, wonderful. All right, well, I want to take a moment to address a few things beyond just what we do when we winterize a pool. We want to kind of talk about our procedure regarding winterizing.
Yep.
First and foremost, start to finish, when we design a pool or we talk with someone prior to build the pool, and now we're getting ready to winterize, it is our recommendation always to winterize the pool if your equipment is outside.
Yep.
Always. That's just too big a risk operating outdoor equipment in these freezing temps.
Yeah, stagnant water and freezing temperatures do not make fix.
Correct. And inevitably, power's going to go out, you're going to go out of town. I mean, even though we're there once a week to clean it, you know, if we're there on a Wednesday, on Sunday, we're not even here working, power goes out for 3-4 hours and it's 10 degrees out, your equipment's going to freeze. And it's tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage. So, it is our stance at IPB, if you want to keep your pool going, pool or spa, your equipment needs to be in a heated, controlled environment. Especially with our new high efficiency heaters, they have condensate drain lines. That condensate, whenever the heat runs, is running water. And that condensate line can freeze.
Yeah, we actually have to modify it.
If it's outside. So, now let's talk about that. There are some pools that we operate year round that the equipment is outside. Homeowners know this risk, even though we recommend it. It's just not viable. I mean, sometimes there's situations where they can't enclose it, they can't put a shed over it, the HOA won't allow, grade won't allow, I mean, whatever, right? And some people choose to keep their pool open. Well, in those cases, we can cover the pool equipment, except for the heater, with a concrete blanket, help insulate it a little bit, cut down on some of the noise. We can modify the ETI condensate drain system so that it won't back up and freeze up when it does get cold. So I mean, there's things we can do to help mitigate it from freezing. But you know, it's like an onion. There's just, you know, different levels of helping protect it, right? Power goes out for any amount of time, or let's say the pump drive goes out and water quits circulating, it's going to freeze. So on that same thing, we need to talk about warranty and freezing. There is no such thing as warranty on anything freeze damage.
Regardless of the circumstance.
Correct. So Pentair's pool equipment, on the first page of their warranty page, like I think it's the first or second bullet point, says they covered 0 freeze damage. So even if the pump goes out, Pentair, the manufacturer who underwrites the warranty for all the pool equipment, says there's no warranty. Our contract says there's no warranty for freeze damage. So we've got to keep that in mind. I hate seeing people lose and have
they're
damage.
never fun. They're not fun to go repair. It's not a fun conversation to have with the homeowner. The homeowner doesn't like paying it. All around, it's not a fun conversation or process for any of us.
No, and a lot of times where we do see freeze damage, it's around really weird, extenuating circumstances. We had some weird fires in Boulder a couple of years ago, and a lot of people lost power. It was really super windy and cold, and in one neighborhood, we lost like 5 or 6 equipment sets.
And a couple were covered.
Not a couple were indoors.
Yeah.
They were all covered.
But covered indoors.
A couple of them were indoors. But you have to think, your pool heater, even when it's indoors, has a vent pipe that goes outside to get rid of the exhaust, right? Well, if the inside, the room where the equipment is no longer heated, cold air from outside that's 0 degrees, 10 degrees, whatever, can come in.
That's going to make sense.
And that heat exchanger, if water's not flowing through it, that's a direct path for air to come in and out. And so we saw that the rest of the pool equipment, pumps, the filter, the plumbing, on these indoor ones were good, but the heat exchangers all froze on both of these indoor equipment sets. And it was a real bummer. And the other thing that everybody asks, you know, is my home insurance, homeowner's insurance, going to cover freeze damage? And just about every case we've seen freeze damage. Guys, I've seen crazy freeze damage. In just about every case, homeowner's insurance does not cover it. Not to say that yours won't, but in the hundreds of cases over 30 years, I've seen hundreds of freeze calls. I think I've seen 1, maybe 2 that the homeowner's insurance covers. So for these reasons, we've formulated our practice and policies, and they work very well. We don't have frozen underground lines. Our warranty, you know, if we winterize something and it's shut down and there's a freeze crack on the equipment or a ball valve or something, we take care of it. Because obviously it wasn't blown out right now. I can tell you that doesn't happen. We do occasionally see a ball valve that will freeze and break. A little bit of water can get left in a seal. And so we'll take care of that under warranty. But that's the worst, using our prescribed method of winterizing, that's the worst we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a couple $100 worth of a valve, not tens of thousands of dollars worth of underground.
Correct.
Tearing out deck, landscaping, that whole process.
So that's kind of why we wanted to put this video together, was to answer these questions, get all of this information out into one place, educate our clients, hopefully help pass some of this knowledge along. Also maybe help Mason so he's not having to make the same call, 100 times this winter.
Yeah, exactly.
Same for Sam as
Answer
well.
some basic questions that, and there's still, like we've talked about, there's gonna be a lot of cases where these are my circumstances and, you're gonna need some help on, hey, how do I navigate this? And you can feel free to, talk to us about what those circumstances are, and we'll educate you to the best of our ability of, what are the pros and cons given your certain situation. But at the end of the day, it's your pool. They have to make the decision on what they want to do, but we can just provide them the most information we can to make them have an educated decision on what they want to do.
So as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Main phone line, ask for Samantha in service, myself or Mason as well. Probably the best way to get a hold of us if you have any questions is through the service email, and that's service@integritypoolbuilders.com. And Samantha will get back to you. She's just a rock star and does awesome getting back to clients as soon as she can and answering questions. As always, guys, we really appreciate you. Love you as our clients. If there's anything we can do to better improve our services, or you want to just discuss with us in general, feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much.